if you want to know what could possibly be in Breath of the Wild 2, I would say look at the Creating a Champion book, because it has a lot of the DLC that was taken out of the original game, and then it has a lot of concepts that they turned into DLC. And since Breath of the Wild 2 came from DLC that they wanted to put in, then I think there's not all of it, but I think some of the stuff in there is going to make an appearance in Breath of the Wild 2. Like there's the underwater suit that Link has, but I think they're just going to use a normal like Zora tunic or something, or like maybe it gets blessed and then now Link can breathe underwater, so that allows him to start diving. It could be something like that, I don't know, but I think those, like if you want some ideas and stuff, go look at that book, because it does have a lot of stuff that they've already shown, like the floating island and stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
And they show off. There was originally the Kokiri champion instead of.
Yeah, I'm so mad about that. I'm mad. I'm actually legit mad.
Do you remember why they left the Kokiri out?
Not exactly, but like they were just saying that within if I'm remembering from the book correctly, they were saying, within development, eventually we can settle on the idea to have Rito represented in the game, and they said I feel they said that like it'll be too confusing to have Kokiri and Koroks in the same game. I'm like, oh great, but you have Rito and Zora in the same game, so whatever.
Yeah.
So the other thing to go along with that is that originally they were gonna instead of finding Koroks everywhere, they were gonna have fake Master Sword pedestals.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they even used like the same model from Skyward Sword, and they were just going to be fake, like a reference to A Link to the Past, where they were like fake things
They're
all
fake
over
swords
the Lost Woods.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they were originally going to have, until I guess you magically stumbled upon it was a weird concept. I don't know why they would have done it. And then they decided, like, they just got done working on Wind Waker HD, and they had all of these different Korok models, and they were like, oh, what if there were just Koroks everywhere instead of the stones? That way, like, it would actually make a bit more sense if they were just hiding and then you went and found them and they gave you something. So then, since they put the Koroks in, they got rid of the Kokiri, because again, you can't have the Kokiri and the Koroks, but again, like HMK said, they have the Rito and the Zora. And then they also had his weapon was like a whip, and then the Gerudo, I think, had a hook shot type thing, or like a claw shot.
Yeah.
And then there's also the interviews where Aonuma said that they did have the hook shot or claw shot in the game, but it made you feel too much like Spider-Man. Since you can already climb everywhere, if you're able to like just climb somewhere and then hook shot to another place, then it would make the game a lot easier, because there's a lot of puzzles. Like there's some areas where you actually have to take time and think about how to get to the top of a mountain. Like you got to burn the thorns and some other stuff. So the hook shot would just like let you skip past all of that trouble. So they took it out, and then like I think the Kokiri had a whip, like in Wind Waker and Skyward Sword. But yeah, it's just like so many ideas. So like if we seen the return of the Kokiri and then like the hook shot and some other stuff, that would all be really cool. But anyways, does anyone else have anything?
Would you guys want Link to still remain mute in the sequel? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Never mind.
He's not mute. He just like in the lore, when you find out in Breath of the Wild, he just chooses not to speak, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. You know, like I am not in a rush to hear Link's voice. I have not been in a rush to hear him speak 10 years ago. I'm not going to be in a rush to hear him 10 years after this. I'm good. You know?
Excuse me, princess.
So what are some what are a couple of new mechanics that you would like to see brought to it?
The hand. I need to know what the hand does. Like,
oh yeah.
The life out of
the
you.
hand. So me and Zeltic had this theory like a couple of months ago, where we thought about the whole hand granting the ability to channel energy and elements into the Master Sword and into the arrows, since it is his sword wielding arm and his arrow fly arm. And I feel that would be a good way to remove breakable weapons in Breath of the Wild 2. This way, be able to channel elements into the Master Sword without the need to have a flame blade or a great flame blade or a thunder blade or an ice blade. The Master Sword will replace that by channeling energy into the sword from the arm, and then that will be a way to free up inventory space for arrows, because you will no longer need to find fire, ice, or electric arrows, because you will channel that energy into the arrows. Instead, you will have a something akin to like a magic bar, or if you want to go even further, a specific bar for specific elements in which you can use to channel into your weapons and stuff, and then you can use that to moderate how much energy you have, how much magic you have, and that'll be a great way to bring back the magic meter in Breath of the Wild 2. And then you can also channel whatever that green energy is, spirit magic into the Master Sword in order to buff its attacks or to kill certain enemies in one shot. Or it'll be the only way to purge malice from the world if you're gonna have to do that in the new world of Hyrule. But give me what I want to know what the arm does.
But can you speculate? And like that spirit hand?
Yeah.
Can you speculate on that?
I feel okay. So I have so many theories on what that hand could be. But one big theory that I've put out is that, and this is a Wild Boy theory, is that the hand is not, a lot of people are like, oh, it has to be a good guy because it saved Link, it's going into Link's arm, it's sealing Ganon, it has to be good. I'm like, what if it's not good? What if it's actually something akin to a follower of Ganondorf that did that to him in order to keep him alive?
Oh yeah, like someone like Zant or Girahim.
Sant, Girim, or Aghanim, to keep him alive so that he will come back at his strongest. Because I have a theory that malice, it never truly goes away, because the source of malice, as we thought was the Calamity Ganon, is actually Calamity Ganondorf, as you see the malice pouring from his wound, his very being. And I play around with the theory that once you defeat malice, it goes back to the source, builds up again, gets angrier, gets more powerful, and then leaks out again. But then the whole reason why that's happening is because Ganondorf is literally biding his time and biding his power and biding his energy to the point where his malice, his hatred, his power will be strong enough so that when he doesn't have the Triforce of Power, he'll be unstoppable. And literally, he had to wait over more like 10,000 years plus with this plan. He had to be patient, and now Breath of the Wild 2 is when that plan will finally come to fruition. And he's like, I built up enough malice, I built up enough power in order to take over Hyrule without the aid of the Triforce, and yikes. So that's my take on what the hand could.
All right. So for everyone listening, I know that there's 4 of us here, but we keep asking HMK because the Geek Apprentice has been on, as a co-host of the podcast, almost every episode. People are always asking our opinion on Breath of the Wild. So we've already given like almost everything we can give. So that's why we're going with our guest here. So there's the theory that almost immediately came about that in some ways does make sense, but in other ways doesn't. And it relies heavily on some of the quotes from Wind Waker, to where Ganondorf try to make it his dialogue to where you can sympathize with him, to where he's like, I did it from my people, because the harsh desert and everything. And,
right.
So it tries to make you sympathize with him. But then it's like, well, you also kidnapped a bunch of people and you're like trying to kill a little girl and all that, but like you're giving a nice speech, but like anyways, it's like, but you still did all the stuff that he did in Ocarina of Time. But anyways,
right.
Like, because of that speech, a lot of people think that maybe this Ganondorf.
Oh, here we go. I already know.
Yeah, and the map that has the figure that does in ways look more like Ganondorf than Link. But it could just be like a crude drawing of Link, the hero, or whatever.
Right.
And then he has like red hair, and a lot of people think like, oh, well, that makes it Ganondorf too. But then it's like, well, Link has different hair colors in different games. Like in some games he has blonde hair, some games he has brown hair, and A Link to the Past he had pink hair. So like, there, you know, he could be born Hylian, but like, what's the chance that? And this isn't even like an idea or a speculation. What are the chances that Link could have be born, like the spirit of the hero could be born as a Gerudo? Would that
what?
Like would that make sense as to why
Here
it looks like a Gerudo on the map?
I don't think in particular. All right, so the thing with the map, the thing with the mural on the map, and I actually have, so I'm looking at it right now, is that one thing I think that needs to be considered about that is that that drawing, first of all, that drawing is like out of whack. Where like, bro, you like they're people, you can't really make out what they're supposed to be and stuff. Like they just look really, really, really weird. Secondly, when they're people are like, oh, but the orange hair, the long orange hair and stuff. I feel that the reason why that color is orange is because in order for it to contrast against the fact that the dude wearing wielding the sword that seals darkness, in that his hand is yellow, right? So I feel that in order for to keep that contrast going, it's like, okay, his hand is yellow, but if we made his hair yellow and his head yellow, then people would get confused and they're like, yeah, what's going on, blah blah blah, what's this drawing? So they did it on purpose in order to like, hey, listen, his hand is yellow for a reason, so like to not take away from the fact that his hand is yellow, they're not going to make his hair yellow and orange or whatever. And then also that goes into the really deep lore about the Legend of Zelda and why the hero like couldn't be a Gerudo. And that has to deal with the fact that, of course, the Hylians are the gods' chosen people. That goes into the whole messed up notion of like goddesses' favoritism and the dissension between the tribes and who's favored who's favored in Hyrule and who's not, who gets the scraps and who gets the green lands and stuff like that. And then that just boils down to the point where like, oh, the hero is always going to be Hylian. Link, he was raised in in Orden with the Ordanians in Twilight Princess, but he was still Hylian. They all had rounded ears and he had sharp ears, and he was still Hylian there, and he was still the hero, turned out to be the hero. So like, the notion of the hero ever being a Gerudo is definitely, I don't think it's on the books, especially with the goddesses constantly creating design in order to have a hero rise up against the eternal evil that is the reincarnated demise, going into Calamity Ganon and all that. So I don't feel that the theory or the idea or the notion that the mural depicts a Gerudo hero to be true all because of all of those reasons, and that's what I have to say about that.
I could say I left this as a comment on the podcast co-host. He's not on it now, but Daniel Kapteberger, since his channel, he made a video talking about why he doesn't necessarily believe in the good guy Ganondorf theory, which is kind of what we're talking about. Like it being Ganondorf that's like fighting the beast Ganon, and Ganon is being sealed in the thing to stop whatever it is. Like there's different versions of the good guy theory, and he's just talking a bunch of different reasons why he can't be good. And again, most of it's based off of the Wind Waker speech and this the way the map's drawn and like the color of the hair and everything. And I would say like the different color of the hair could have been drawn to resemble like at certain moments when Link gets powered up, like the sword gets powered up or whatever, like it starts glowing. And Breath of the Wild, when Zelda finally uses her power, like she starts glowing and there's like a huge light that comes and spreads out. And what is it, like Ocarina of Time, they give special power to the sword before Link does the final blow. And Breath of the Wild, it could be that the same type of power that Zelda has that's like making her glow, or it could even be the power that he ends up getting in the trailer from Breath of the Wild 2 that we've seen, to where like he turns blue. Like it could be, instead of how he collected runes, he gets these different powers that like different colors for different abilities. And for whatever reason, when he originally, or the hero originally beat Ganon the first time, and like that's the picture they drew, whatever ability he used not only took his hand, like made his hand change colors, but just made his whole body change colors, because instead of just using a little bit of it, he used all of it, in a similar way to how Princess Zelda was able to use all of her power, and she was able to glow and like almost look like a Super Saiyan or something. So like it could be that, like instead of being the actual color of his hair and his hand and stuff, it could just be the color that it was glowing at the time of the battle, that he was using this newfound power, since now we know that he can glow, because at least blue. But that's my thing. But yeah, I guess, is anything left before HMK gives his ideas on how it may end?
None here.
I think we covered everything.
All right. So how do you believe this is going to end? Now you do have the video where like it talks about possibly going into 3 different games, but you don't have to talk about that. Just give your idea of like how you think it might end, or how you would want it to end.
You know, given how Breath of the Wild 1 ended and how deal Calamity Ganon destroyed the kingdom completely and utterly 100 years prior to the game's actual beginning, I feel that this time around, Calamity Ganondorf, because literally Calamity Ganon is literally, you know, mindless, just bent on destroying. This time around, we deal with someone who's actually proven to be extremely intelligent throughout the entirety of the Zelda series, and I feel that's gonna end very badly this time around. You know, because the first game, like, oh, we after 100 to defeat Calamity Ganon, even though it's like he's mindless, he's terrible, he can destroy the world, but we were able to beat him. Yay, we outsmarted something that doesn't really have a mind of its own. We're not gonna be fighting that kind of concept this time around, and I feel that Breath of the Wild 2 might end in tears, and I would like it for end in tears, to the point where Ganondorf, maybe he's not victorious, maybe he'll get away, but to the point where they don't really defeat him, leading into an idea of Breath of the Wild 3 down the line, because you know, it's just like the whole concept of Calamity Ganon, like the fact that Calamity Ganon was able to do so much damage, and you know, and it's primal, like he doesn't really think, it acts on instinct. It's like an animal, right? And that was able to do all that damage we saw in Breath of the Wild 1. Just imagine if someone had intelligence behind that kind of power, you know. So I feel that you know, it ain't gonna be that simple of how we defeated Calamity Ganon in the first game, and I feel the second game is going to end in a very sad, somber, you know, deceptive note, to the point where like Ganondorf is back, and he's back in a very, very, very horrific way, and that's how I think Breath of the Wild 2 could end.
Like Infinity War.
Kind of, not exactly, but kind of, you know.
Okay, so
Oh, he was so good.
Yeah.
You have
A cliffhanger would be great, honestly.
You have the 𝐓𝐤𝐥𝐿 clan. A lot of people felt sort of disappointed with the way that the game handled the ending of their story, where it kind of played out as a joke with their leader.
Right.
In some of the Zelda game backstories, it talks a lot about how followers of Ganon tried to like get the Triforce to resurrect him or whatever. What if that is what causes this return of the you know, the dead Ganondorf starting to come back to life, to where after defeating the 𝐓𝐤𝐥𝐿 or like the lazy leader of the 𝐓𝐤𝐥𝐿 clan, maybe like another one comes along or they get more serious, and they're like, oh geez, they killed Calamity again, and our leader or whatever, our deity they worship. So then somehow they end up with the Triforce or a way to resurrect him, and their resurrecting him is what causes like the mountain or the castle to start raising up to where like his body could, once he comes back to life, he could get out of the cave that he's in or sealed in or whatever. So I don't think they're gonna be directly responsible for his return, but I know that I feel that they're anticipating it. I feel that they're not responsible, but they because Yiga are former Sheikah, and Sheikah have pretty much logs to like everything that is and everything that will be, right? So I feel that they know that Ganondorf is gonna come back, and that's why I feel they're not exactly too heated about the whole Koga thing, except for the fact they're trying to kill Link every time they see him. I feel that they know he's coming, and that when he's back, they have an entire army ready for him in terms of like on the human side of things. And of course, Ganondorf is gonna have all of this demonic and monster minions. Yeah. And I feel that's like the really scary thing about Breath of the Wild 2, because like Calamity Gan once again was a mindless beast. Calamity Ganondorf is an intelligent being, and then he's gonna have so many assets and so many he's gonna have an army to his disposal of both monster and humans. So I think they are anticipating, and they know he's gonna be back, and I don't think they're gonna be responsible for his return, but they're gonna be back. But I gotta say this right now, I'm actually pushing time right now, and I actually have to be out. Yeah. So I don't want to.
All good.
Yeah, no. It's all good. Like it. Like I said earlier, the interview was only supposed to be like so long, but it ended up taking up forever.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, we can go ahead and end it here. But before we do, once again, go ahead and let everyone know who you are and where they can find you and everything like that.
Well, I'm HMK. I do Zelda Legend of Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, and Super Smash Bros. Nintendo Switch content over on my channel, and you can find all of my links and all my channels under HMKilla. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook with the same tag. And of course, I do Zelda content every week, so look forward to that. And Breath of the Wild 2. Oh man, I'm shooting for 2020. So if you enjoy Zelda content, please check out my channel.
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of the 2020 idea as well.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. So
Direct will just be like,
Yeah, Mo. Where can people find you?
You will find me on Twitter as MoChocolate9K, and my Twitch. Can I put it in the chat link?
Yeah.
All right.
I already put it in there a couple of times.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
My Twitch is MoChocolate9K as well. And yeah, you find me on there. And if you love chatting with a silly black nerd, then I'm your man. All of the above.
All right, and the Geek Apprentice. Let people know where they can find you and what type of content that you produce.
Well, y'all know me. I'm the Geek Apprentice. You can find me on YouTube by that name, mostly YouTube, for a myriad of geeky content, everything from Zelda to Harry Potter, Disney, including the MCU and Pixar, How to Train Your Dragon, all that good stuff. And I sometimes dual stream YouTube and Twitch, and I have an Instagram, all the same name.
All right. Well, Mo Chocolate, HMK, the Geek Apprentice. Thank you all for coming. Sorry again for it being 2.5 hours. Like when we started, I said I want to try to make it a quick one, about an hour and a half at the most, and it just went on for so long. But thank you so much for coming on.
That's all good.
It's been way too long.
Thank you.
We should have had you on a long time ago. So
hey, you know where to find me.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody watching, the 90 to 100 of you that watched us for almost 3 hours. Thank you all. Thank you all for the donations and the new subscribers and everyone. And you can find the audio version on iTunes. Just go look for the Hylian Gamescast. And if you don't want to watch the video and you just want to listen while you're at work or driving, whatever, there you go. And please go check out HMK's channel. How many subscribers are you at now?
I'm currently at 145,000.
140. All right.
Nice.
Awesome. So thank you once again, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Bye, y'all. Hey everyone, it's me again, 𝐅𝐿𝐢. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the 𝐵𝐻𝐺𝐺𝑠𝑠 channel, please consider purchasing a 𝐵𝐻𝐺𝐺𝑠𝑠 t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/𝐵𝐻𝐺𝐺𝑠𝑠, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/𝐵𝐻𝐺𝐺𝑠𝑠, and much, much more.